Hey folks, how are we doing? Good to have you. Good to have you. A little bit unorganised at the last minute. I just kind of realised I didn't have my top-down camera plugged in, and I had to rummage around for wires and stuff like that. But it seems to be working now. You guys, let me know if the sound is okay and the images are okay. That would be awesome. Let's have a look. We've got a few of you guys in tonight. Hey Jamie, how's it going? Gaitan's in. Tanya's in. 40k Blood Angels. 40k for me tonight as well. I am carrying on with some work on these heavy intercessors tonight for my Space Wolves, who are going to get shelved pretty soon when I pick up my next project, which I'll come to. I'll come to in a bit. We'll have a chat in a bit. Shall I? I'll leave it. I'll leave it on the screen. I don't need to be big. You don't need to be seeing media. Joe's in. How's it going, Joe? Dan's in. Evening, brother. Uruk Scouts for Jamie. Mordor Orcs for Joe. Mordor for Dan. Different Gear TV's in. Different Gear TV is in. Welcome, mate. A few years from. Yes, Different Gear TV. I will check. The lists. I'm pretty devastated because I've got like 3 black splodges on my lovely extra large Middle Earth mouse map, and I don't think that's going to come out, so I'm devastated about that. But I hope you're all well. There's a few of you in. There's a few of you who are in who was on the stream last night, which was an absolute blast. And I don't know if you can see, I've got the right t-shirt on. Well, actually, I've got the wrong t-shirt on for being on this channel, and I had this channel t-shirt on last night, so I'm all over the place. But I was a little bit hungover this morning. I'm still feeling a little bit flaky. Not gonna lie, a little bit flaky from last night. I think I was a little bit tipsy last night. And my eyes, by the way, I know a few people were saying, "Oh, look after your eyes, worried about your eyes." I think Damien mentioned it. The pollen count yesterday was very high, and it was quite high today, as well in the northwest. And I think that's what it is. I do suffer from hay fever, and I think it wasn't like it normally is when I get hay fever, where it's like they're itchy and they're watering. They were just like really gritty, like felt really gritty, and it doesn't help when I'm streaming. That's why I've got all the lights on. Like normally I have the main lights off and some moody lighting in the background, but I've got all the lights on tonight, so I can see and I'm not straining my eyes as much. But yeah. So anyway, I hope you're all well. Al's just joined us. Welcome, Al. Joe says he's not really feeling his orcs at the minute. Third sprue of them he's painted. I just need these 6, then I'm on to more fun stuff, good stuff. Yeah, you can get like that when you're painting. So basically, anyone who was in the last painting stream that I've done, I started work on these 3 chaps. Let's see if I can get them all on the screen. I started on these, just getting all the base colours on. Silvers, blacks. I've done the armour. Once I get the base colours on, I'll give them one big major wash. I'm going to do some highlights on the browns, on the belts. I'm going to pick out the golds tonight. And just have a double check over them, make sure that I've not missed any details that I don't want to miss. I'll probably put a Rakarth flesh on the parchment. In joke, if you were in the stream last night. So I'm going to carry on working with these tonight. Some other stuff you might be interested in that's on my painting table at the moment. So those guys, anyone who follows the channel or the streams knows that in the background I am painting up a 40k Space Wolves army. Love Space Wolves, love the aesthetic. So this guy is nearly finished. I've not got much to do. As you can see, I've spent a little bit more time on Ragnar than I have the standard troops. The heroes I like to spend a little bit of time on, and the basic troops I just want to pump out. So this is kind of the scheme that I'm going for my standard guys. Very basic, but I think it's quite effective from 3-4 foot away. You know, just the armour done. You know, pick out the gold, nice pauldrons, a few little details here and there. And I think they look all right. Very quick, very easy, very basic, and that's where I want to get with those. So I'll be working on them tonight. On my painting desk as well is Easterlings is another project for Middle Earth strategy battle game. These are next in my Easterlings. This is my treat for painting 2 warbands of standard troops. So I'm going to paint up Dragon Knight foot mounted. Next, I'm hoping to get to those this week at some point. I need to open that blister and get him built. Also, excuse me, this guy. So this guy, look at the state of him. This guy I found in I spoke to my son. My son used to many moons ago when he was a lot younger. He used to play and collect and paint Middle Earth with me, and he lost interest. And he rang me yesterday and asked me to dig out a box that he had in the loft of some bits and bobs that he needed. And in there was a few other bits. I had a Sony PSP and a load of games. And this guy, which he painted, he must have been about, I don't know, 14 or something when he painted that. So it's not the best, not terrible. It's not terrible, not slating him, but he painted it very quick. He's not got much patience, my lad. And I found him, and I thought, you know what? I have been for the last 12 months working on an Isengard army. So I think I'll paint this troll up, and I'm gonna tart him up basically. I'm not gonna strip him. I'm gonna go over what's there. I'm gonna use what's there as the base because when he was painted, even though he was very impatient and he rushed and he wasn't very neat, he did thin his paints. I taught him well, so he did thin his paints. So the detail's not obscured. So I'm just gonna. It's kind of a bit of a project for me that I'm gonna tart that up and hopefully make that look half decent. The base is all right. I'll just add a few tufts to it, dry brush it a little bit, give it a brush now it's full of dust. You can see. But yeah, that's something I'm hoping to get to this week as well. Something else that I've been working on this week is this stuff. This stuff is really nice. So I've just started to add some greens, which I've got to blend in a little bit more, just to sort of give it that aged look on the stone. This is resin. Really like this. Based in and around Am and Hen. So we've got the griffin pillars, which are very nice, very cool. And then the bit that everybody recognises, I have to move some stuff, it's quite big, is the actual CNC itself. I'll zoom out a little bit. There you go. So the CNC itself, probably the best recreation of the Am and Hen CNC that I've ever seen, if I'm totally honest, in the scale that we play at. It's beautiful. I love it. So I'm working on that as well. Now that is going on a board. Let me get zoomed back in. I use a miniature so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, get too close. See all my mistakes. So I get that close. So that's what I've been working on. That's what I'm going to be working on this week. There is a couple of other bits, but they're not uberly important. So do let me know what you guys are working on. That would be great. I'm gonna tonight. First off, as you can see, I've got the black down on the weapons, a bit of silver down just to mix up the black, some patches of silver to break up the armour, some browns. I'm going to work on the browns, but I'm going to get some gold, some of the gold on tonight. Actually, I might do the pauldrons. We do the pauldrons. I'll have to go and grab some other paints because I've not got them to hand. Because I do my pauldrons. Don't ask me about clan markings and all that malarkey. I paint what was on a box art once. So I do like yellow and the deep sort of burgundy red. Should I do that first? I'll work on the gold tonight, and I don't have to get off my backside. So I'll get some of the gold bits filled in tonight on camera, and yeah, we can have a chat and see where we're at. So let's have a look. Joe says he assumed it was just tiredness. My eyes go proper bad when I'm tired. Yeah, it was probably a mix of both, plus the fact that I was pretty drunk. Alexander says, evening, welcome mate. Wolf says, mine looked worse when I was 14. Yeah, he's not a bad painter, my lad. Well, he wasn't. He's not painted for many years, but when he put his mind to it, he wasn't a terrible painter. He was pretty good. But he's very impatient. He's of that generation, I think. I mean, Hen looks great. Yeah, it does. I'm really happy with it. It's a great mini. Al's on his ARC Troopers. I've still got all my Legion stuff here. Al. Yeah. I've been trying different ways to cheat and get them done. I think they're all right. I think they'll do for battle reports. I think that'll be great. They'll work. I've just got to do some other bits. Again, because of the channel, when I do troops, I tend to not want to spend a silly amount of time on them. But heroes, I'll put some time into because they'll probably go on shelves and stuff. All my shelving, all this stuff behind me is going, hopefully this week, to the studio. So it creates more room in here, because I've got some plans for some terrain video stuff, which would be quite cool. Nathan T's watching Coming to America, so I won't be joining, but yeah, I'm painting. Yeah, hopefully, I think I'm watching that tomorrow. I was going to watch it tonight. I was going to stream tomorrow and watch it tonight, but apparently there's something called Saturday Night Takeaway on that can't be missed, and some other music-y tat. So yeah, that didn't happen. Andrew's painting Imperial Salt. Feels like death warmed up after my first. Oh, you feel like death warmed after your first jab. Well, at least you've had your first jab, mate. That's good. And I think, yeah, it's hit and miss with people, innit? Whether they how they feel after it. But it's the right thing to do, mate. It's the right thing to do. I'll shake this up. Especially beat your arm, you've always got to go mad with it, haven't you? Especially when it's not been used for ages. So excuse any heavy breathing that you might hear. So there's bits of Star Wars. I was going to work on Star Wars tonight, but I think what I'll do, I've got my ARC Troopers as well, Al, that I'm going to get built, and Captain Rex. And I think I'll do a Star Wars themed painting stream in the next week or so. Or maybe, if I don't do it this week, it'll definitely be the week after. Get some of this gold. I'm running out of space on my wet palette. I'm not as neat with my wet palette, as you can see, as someone else that's in the chat. Basically, every aspect of your life, Dan, is very neat, and I doff my cap to you for that. I'm always doing a million things at once. I think that's the problem. Check some of this paint off here. I've not tried them brushes yet either. I might give them a go tonight. I'm just going to work with this one because I've got it out. Right, gold. So I'm gonna paint the rim on the pauldrons now, before I do the infill colour, which is a very stupid thing to do, but never mind. Please do let me know if I keep going off shot as well. I was doing it loads last time. This is where I understand why people paint before assembling, when they're holding weapons across the chest detail. Makes complete sense to paint it first. Because you can't flip and get in there. But to be honest, I don't think I need to get in there loads, as long as I can get gold on the areas that the eye can see. That'll be fine. Oh, look at that, I've got it all over the flipping gun like an absolute empty head. I've got a bit of the black that I need to tidy up anyway, so it's not too bad. I've gone over there as well. I'm gonna have to go in there, people, and clean that off, because I'm not gonna get in there again. That'll do. Gold, gold, gold. Let's see where I've painted gold on this guy. So it's just his chest. Oh, it's just the pauldron rims, isn't it? That'll do me. That will do me. You know what, as well, I'm not wearing my funky magnifying glasses, which I do normally paint if I'm painting. I don't paint without them, so this painting just with normal reading glasses on feels a bit weird. Everything's clean but your mind. No comment, Dan. No comment. Just using the edge of the brush just to try and get pick the raised area out, which is just a lot easier. I'm not really bothered if I go inside because I'm yet to paint the infill colour of the pauldron, but I like to think that trying to keep the paint where the paint should go is always good practice, I think. This is the awkward bit, just down the inner wall of the rim. Put this light on. Does that make it easier to see? Makes it easier for me. I can flip and see what I'm doing now. The bit where I've got my paint on my wet palette you can't see, which is not really helpful. Yeah, so I'm going to drop in and out of the chat. Please do feel free just to crack on and have a chat between yourselves. This is just a hangout, even though it's my ugly mug on the screen and me painting. This isn't the Steve show. This is just basically us hanging out, not being able to get down to the pub or meet each other for a drink or whatever. Which, fingers crossed, won't be too far off. It's crazy that, isn't it? You just put that bit of gold on. There's not a lot, and it just changes the whole look of the model. Hey Niall, how's it going, mate? Wolf says, nothing to paint for me at the moment. The remnants of my armies are at my parents' home. Moved out 2018 to join the armed forces. Had no time since. Now that I retired, I try to get back into the hobby. It's a good time to get back into it, man. And it's a, do you know what? It's a good hobby to have. It's a good hobby to have, just a bit of escapism, and it's a pretty cool community here at Top Table and over on Battle Streams. Very laid back, very relaxed way of looking at things. I don't take life too seriously, which is a breath of fresh air as well. Oh, that was one thing that I wanted to say. I did release a video today about I don't know if everybody's seen it, the fan-made movie that's trying to get some funding based in the old world, and it looks fantastic. It looks like, it doesn't, to look at it you wouldn't think it was like a fan-made movie. Quality's spot on. They've only done like a little trailer of what it's going to be like, because obviously they're trying to raise funds, but I've just done the exact same thing with my rush. Yeah, I really do hope they get funding, because I'd really want to see that. I think it'd be awesome. Note to self when I get my other heavy intercessors: paint the torsos first, you muppet. So yeah, the reason that I mentioned earlier that these guys will be going back on the shelf for a few months is because of the new 40k magazine that's coming out. I can't remember what it's called now. Let me find out. That is Retributor Armour, Dan. Do you know what I should be doing? I've got them new Pro acrylics. I should be trying them. Flipping heck, I've started with these now. Let me find. Just bear with me a second. Just let me do a search here. Sorry guys, this is not great to watch. I'm just trying to find the name. I can't flipping remember it. Someone will probably say it in the chat before I do. Why is it not coming up? That's odd. Not so sure about that then. Don't know why it's not there. Anyway, you remember the old 40k Conquest magazines, which I've got majority of down there. They're redoing them, but it's basically oh, that's winding me up that now. Hang on, I'll tell you exactly what it's called. Imperium, 40k Imperium magazine. Yeah, so they've called it Imperium. It is basically the same as Conquest. It's a part works for 40k, where you collect the magazines each week. Teaches you different aspects of the rules. You get games, you get models in the magazines each week, and it seems like it's all the newer Primaris stuff and Necron stuff. So I'm assuming over a period amount of time you will end up having the Indomitus box set, it looks like, and there is a super special magazine exclusive Primaris Captain in there, and I'm assuming a model for the Necrons that you can only get if you get it through the magazine. So yeah, so myself and Mr. Matt Woods have done a joint subscription, and the idea is to basically do what me and Ben tried to do with Conquest, but then Warcry came out and it got derailed, was to collect the magazines and do like a series on it of our journey into 40k and building the army. And because I'm like really, I couldn't sit down, even if my army was fully painted, I couldn't sit down at a table and play a game because I don't know the rules well enough. I was just getting to grips with them and then stopped, and that was when Warcry was released, which was probably about 2 years ago. So I've not played 40k since. I tell a lie, I had a couple of games when Indomitus dropped, but I had my handheld through the games, so I couldn't do it on my own. Now I'd forget something. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to do like a campaign where when we get the magazines and the models, we'll paint them. I'm going to paint them as Ultramarines because that's what the magazine... You don't have to do that, but I'm doing that because that's basically what the magazine theme is. It's Ultramarines against Necrons. Matt's going to do the Necrons, and we're just going to play out some battle reports, and it's going to be like a vlog of our journey into 40k. Because there is, and there has been for a long time, from me especially, the intention to create 40k content that is narrative driven, friendly, non win at all costs sort of style, which it feels is quite prevalent in the 40k world. I'm not saying it is everywhere, but you know, it just seems quite that way, which is fine, but it's not. That doesn't interest me. So it's not, so our content isn't going to be for everyone. It's not going to be for the die-hard 40k players, because it isn't going to be about making the best lists and breaking the game and all that malarkey. It's going to be about fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. The models are amazing. I actually picked up this guy. I can hold it now. What am I doing? This is I think he's the captain from the new Kill Team box. I got him off eBay because I've just got this weird thing since I've started collecting my Space Wolves and the Conquest stuff. I've got this weird need to have every sort of special Primaris character sort of model that comes out, so the lieutenants and captains and all that. And I don't really know why, but I do. So yeah, so that's happening. Thank you, Barnabas Nadar, for subscribing. Thank you very much. So yeah, that's happening, and I think that's imminent. And I think it's either just been released. I subscribed. I've not had my subscription number email yet, but I subscribed on. It might have been yesterday or Thursday. So I'm just waiting on the email to come. But I've been checking. I kind of expected it to come straight after I, paid the first amount of money, but it hasn't come yet. But I went on some of the forums. Some people said it takes a couple of days. But that's going to be a lot of fun because it's perfect. It's perfect for me, for someone who isn't that knowledgeable on the game, the lore. It's perfect because the Conquest magazines were great. They're fantastic, and they're really good value if you're not already a player who has a lot of the stuff. Like if you're already a player and you've bought the Indomitus box set, I don't think it's for you. Although further down the line you do get Gulliman, so it works out a lot cheaper to do it through the magazine. But obviously then it's a feeder into the hobby, which then benefits. So it's well worth them doing. I just think it's a great idea, and I wish they'd do it for the other systems. Well, they do it for AOS, don't they? Not really got any interest in AOS. When I say other systems, obviously I mean Middle Earth. That would be fantastic. So yeah, so that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. We don't get a lot of 40k chat in the group. That's good, that. We don't get a lot of 40k chat in the group. There are 40k players in the group. We get quite a bit of 40k painting, which I love. I love all that. 40k models. I mean, these are, look at them. If you like the game or not, if I had no interest, even though I wasn't planning on doing content on the channel 40k, I'd still want to paint these. They're great. They're great minis. Where are we up to? Al says, I got my stuff from parents last year because I wanted to get back into it. Now I've got some dark elf stuff and paints from the 90s. Good stuff. Hamish is in. Welcome, Hamish. Good to have you, mate. Jamie says, new mag is called Imperium. I should have just looked at the chat, shouldn't I? Dan says, cool. Not used GW metallics in years, and that looks like a solid colour. And I think the mag series is called Imperium. Yeah. Do you know what? Retributor armor is alright. It's not perfect. It's great if it goes on neat. As soon as you thin it a little bit, it does start to do what most of the GW paints do. With the metallics, when I say paints, I'm not casting assertions. And you'll know what I mean by that. But yeah, it's a good paint, and they also have, I might have it on this bit. Yeah, so this is Liberator Gold is the highlight for it, which I love. That goes on really well over the Retributor armor. I can't deny that. That goes on really well. I'll just get this done, and then I'm going to give all this gold again another pass, but I'll jump in the chat before I do. See, this is speed painting. Speed painting at its best. So, is anyone interested in the footy? It's got big. I'm a United fan, obviously. A big game tomorrow. Derby day. Really not looking forward to it. Man City are on fire, absolutely smashing the league. Oh, I've just got gold in there. I would take, if someone offers me a draw now, 0-0 against City tomorrow, I'll take it all day long. I've got very shaky hands today. Struggling to keep my bloody brush from going on places where I don't want it to go. I'm going to give those, what are they called? The brushes you recommended, Dan, out. I'm going to give them a try in a minute. So if these turn out bobbins, I totally blame you. This is the bit where I keep getting it on the gun, innit? Just here when I'm trying to get me. I think I need to do stabbies from the top like that. Just stop that happening. Yeah. Be great if I could have some music on in the background, wouldn't it? But I don't know what the rules are with YouTube about having background music on. Jamie says issue 4 is going to be a good one. A unit of Necron 3-legged Blade Boys. Yeah, they're awesome models as well. Them Necrons are really, really cool. I always had, before Indomitus came out, should I say, Necrons, like they were kind of the rip off of, like, being not a 40k fan. If there's anyone 40k and I insult anyone here, I do apologise. But Necrons are always like their rip off of Terminators. That's the way I always looked at them. And a bit naff, just looked a bit naff. And then the new stuff come out, and they're amazing. The plastic kits for the new Necrons are something to behold for sure. Get that bit done. Get that bit down there done. I ended up with I got 2 of the Indomitus box sets. I've got I got one anyway. I pre-ordered one, and then Jay was collecting Necrons. So he had a box, and he said, "Oh, do you wanna? Should we split another box?" So I was like, "Yeah." Super cool, man. The models are really good. I really like the motorbike guys. I've not finished them actually. I think I got all the base colours on and got them washed. Got a wash on them. And I think that's as far as I got. I think I've got to get to the detail stage. But what I'm hoping to do, or what I was hoping to do before Imperium was announced, was get a few of these guys, get like about 15 models to the detail stage. That bit there that I missed. And then do them all in one hit. Right, I'm going to swap my brushes. And I'm going to use some of these. What's your go-to, Dan? Is it number 2? Like, pretty much what I go to for everything. I'll tell you what I got. So I got, let me get one so I can get one camera. I've got the 2, I've got 1, 2, 0, and a 0, 10. Obviously 0, 10s for dotting I's and that. I think 2. I think we'll go with 2. Long bristles, isn't it? You better wash it out. Alright. I'm going to give them another once over in a minute. Let's just jump back in here. Wolf says to Al, we'll visit my parents over the Easter weekend. I actually have no idea what's left in my withdraw. The paints and stuff would be rubbish, but I'm excited what I might find. It's always good going back to stuff. It's like I found that troll in the attic, which is cool. Must have been about 15 years ago I dropped the hobby, but lockdown is a bummer, so I got bored and started thinking, it's a great hobby, man. It's a wholesome hobby. It's wholesome, you know. So everything about it's positive, if you want it to be. Damn, it's a shame that's not available in Poland, said Alexander. I'm sure, my friend, make some friends in around Top Table. I'm sure you might be able to arrange something about getting them sent over. I'm sure someone will help you out. Gaetan says, where do you find those magazines? They're on the I don't know how you pronounce it, because I think, is it French? Hachette. I'll type it in the chat now. I've got to do it on this one, haven't I? In fact, let me find this. Just bear with me a second, and I'll put a link in the I'll put a link in the chat. I have to find it. Imperium. There we go. Let me find this for you guys. Copy. Right, I'll put this in the chat for you. So if you're interested in the part works for 40k, there we go. It's in the chat now. Give that a click and check it out. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I was going to do a video on it, but like loads of people did it. Loads of people did a video on it, so I just didn't see that it was going to add anything to me putting a video out there. There's loads out there you can find. If you want to check out one of the best people who I think, and it's not just because he's a mank, because he's a blue mank, which is a different level of I'm only joking. Is Chapter Master Valrak. He's a great guy. I chat to him a lot. Before lockdown happened, he was going to feature on the channel. He was going to come and teach me how to play 40k. I was going to teach him how to play Middle Earth, and I'll try and make that happen again once we can get back into be around each other again, which will be awesome. But go and check him out. He's done some really in-depth. He's done a video I think he released today which breaks down the actual savings that you make through subscribing and getting in magazines on what you would save for buying the models in the shop. But I think one thing that a lot of people haven't a few people have done that, but one thing a lot of people haven't mentioned is the fact that it costs you this much for this amount of models if you get it through subscription, and it costs you this much if you buy that amount of models from GW. But no one's mentioned that as well as the models in that subscription, you get in the magazines, and the magazines are great. It has, but if they're anything like the Conquest magazines, it teaches you how to play, has custom scenarios, painting guides, and a lot of lore. So you don't get all that if you just buy the models in the boxes from GW as well. So I think it's awesome value. Awesome value. Alexander says, I think that's it. Yeah, we'll talk about magazine area. Dan says, that's why I moved to scale 75. The pigment quality is so high and you don't get split and even thin down. Yeah, I've got a few scale 75. I do like them. I'll tell you why I don't use them as much as I'd like to. And it's kind of like they're kind of a victim of their own success. To me, because they're super matte. The paint is super matte, which I really like. But when I'm painting a model, using different brands, it looks odd. It doesn't look right against the other brands. So my choice is don't use it as much, or get rid of my whole paint collection and get all scale 75, which I wouldn't be adverse to, but money. But yeah, I do really like scale 75 stuff. It's awesome. Scale 75 actually reached out to me about 6 months ago about doing some stuff for them, and I never replied to the email. Maybe I should. Joe Holzman says, I only ever use GW metallics with dry brushing now. Much prefer. I only ever use oh right, okay, you only use it for dry brushing. I get what you mean now. Much prefer scale 75s. Stuart Hayes, the Mank Turner. I fancy the Imperium mag, but still got 25 issues of AOS to come. So you play AOS as well. AOS is something that has never interested me, and it's funny. In the last week, something has come to light about AOS and myself that I may be running an event. Weirdly enough, I don't know how to play the game, but I may be running an event. I've been approached, and I'm very interested to do it. I think it would be a good. I'd be stupid as someone who's a content creator for tabletop gaming. AOS being a huge part of that, one of the bigger boys, and the other half of the GW brand in gaming, if you like. I'd be silly to turn that down and not venture into it and learn how the game works and see what the community is like. So, yeah, that'd be quite interesting. Jamie says, I love scale 75 paints using Elven Gold as we speak. Good man. I think metallics, I'd definitely go with the metallics because obviously metallics have a different, metallic. So if I use the metallics, it wouldn't matter how they ended up looking compared to the other paints because it's metallic, if that makes sense. Joe says, Villa fan here. We seem to have gone back to last season of late. Dominate first half. We should be outside by half time. Then end up having to hold on for a point late on. Yeah, I know what you mean. I think the Villa done better than I expected them to do at the beginning of the season. Now I think they did all right. I think they've been doing all right. As a Manchester United fan, I am reveling in your misfortune. So yeah, crack on with that. Jamie says it was a good game last Sunday. Do you know what? Like I say, I mean, I don't want to get onto football. It's a gaming stream, but we can talk about anything, to be honest. But I don't want it to become dominant of football because if you start talking about football, it will end up being dominant of football. United's been very drab. We need Pogba back, which is scary to say because I don't think Pogba wants to be at the club generally anyway. We need to spend big in the summer to compete. City running away with it. Best team in the league by an absolute mile. Liverpool were amazing last season. I'm not sure what the difference is. It can't just be the fact that Van Dijk got injured. It can't be. I mean, it's a big hit. He's a good player, but one of his centre backs getting injured shouldn't have the effect that it's had. So I'm not sure what's happened there with Liverpool. But it's wide open at the top. It's wide open for them top 4 places. I think I was looking at it earlier today. I think down to about 8th, 9th position. All in and around sort of 10-point pocket, which anything could happen. A few draws and you're out of that top 5 easily. Wolf says you guys are all from the UK. Not everyone, Wolf. We do. It's quite quiet tonight. We've got 25 people in. We normally have quite a good mix. It's generally probably more, I'd say 60-70% UK. Yeah. We have a lot of Europeans in, and we generally sometimes have a lot of Americans in. Are you US, Wolf? I take it. But yeah, you're more than welcome, my mate. More than welcome. Dirk said, as if by magic, hey together, greetings from Germany. Welcome, Dirk. He's also started collecting the Conquest stuff. It's really good value for a starter. I totally agree. In Germany, Conquest collection has just started last year. I wonder how that's going to work then, because Conquest is 8th edition, right? Am I remembering that right? Conquest is 8th edition, and Imperium is 9th edition, and obviously 9th edition is the current game. So they've either rewritten some of the magazines for Conquest if they're only still being released there now, or they'll be out of date. which is an odd one, yeah. Alexander is a Belarusian living in Poland. Dirk says, so started his first edition and only play SBG. Was also thinking of getting of Paint My Conquest stuff in Space Wolves. Yeah, I love Space Wolves. I love Space Wolves. Always have, even back in the day when I used to go into Games Workshop for Lord of the Rings stuff and, you know, have zero, and I mean zero interest in 40k. I'd always go to the shelf that was in the window that had Space Wolves on it and just think they are cool. With the wolf pelts and, you know, Viking-esque weapons, and it's like space dudes. They just look cool. Dan says he uses a 2. Yeah, that's what I'm going to crack on with. Not much into 40k, says Wolf. I prefer Middle Earth over it, but that's just my sense on it. Yeah, mate, a lot of us are the same. I'm generally a Middle Earth player. Always have, always will be predominantly Middle Earth. I try to figure out which army I want to build first. Not keen to wait till April. My fingers are itching. Gaetan says thanks. Oh, about the magazines. Dan says you can always do a very thin glaze on top of scale 75 with lime and medium, and it will cause the finish to go more satin, and draw a line in with the Citadel and Vallejo stuff. Yeah. Pray for Plagues is in. How you doing, mate? Can I ask a few painting questions? Yes. Do you thin your GW golds? I thin everything. Thin all base and line paints. Everything. Yep. That's not everybody does, and there are a few paints where it's not always necessary. And sometimes, sometimes some of my older paints, I won't thin, because they're that old. There's not a lot of pigment left in them, and I've like revived them a lot by putting a medium in there or water in there. So sometimes I won't paint them, but generally, if I've just buy a pot of paint, it's fairly new, I thin everything. Always thin it. I would rather do, it's like with the gold. Once I put a wash on that and highlighted it, I could probably leave that be fine. But it's just, I like to be in good habits, so I'll go back to that gold in a minute and I'll go over it again. It's only a little bit anyway. It's not going to take long. But yeah, I thin everything. Number 2, is there much difference between GW, layer brush or base brush? I'm just starting and find my medium base brush is too big in some areas with base coats, so wondering if a small layer brush would help. Yeah, I think it can be quite confusing when you're a new painter, because so I'm not sure what a layer brush equivalent is. What did you say they were? Layer brush or base brush? Have I got one here? That's Games Workshop. So that's a base brush. Well, my base brush looks like that, and I use that, which is weird because I use that for dry brushing. What's that one? That's a Series 7. Layer brush opera. I think a layer brush is going to be a number 2, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, people in the chat. I think a layer brush is like a number 2, which is like your go-to. This is a number 2 Rosemary, which I'm using for the first time. I've been recommended by Dan, who's in the chat. I have loads of brushes. There's tons of them. This is a Artist Opus number 2. Brussels are Brussels. What are Brussels? Bristles are not as long, but generally same thing. It shouldn't really matter unless you're putting a lot of paint down. Pray for Plagues. It shouldn't really matter what size your brush is as long as you can get it to a decent point. That's the trick. You want to keep your brushes getting a decent point. I'm not sure. I've never used. Well, I'm lying. I have at some point, but I don't use GW brushes, or haven't used them for my day-to-day painting for a long period of time. So I couldn't tell you what the quality of them like. I can totally recommend Artist Opus, but for a new painter, they might be a little bit more expensive. Depending where you are. If you are in the UK, I would highly recommend a Regiment brush from Element Games. Fantastic brush. Still use them. Still got them. Still have them here. This brush is probably, can see it's full of paint and everything. But this brush, and I've got paint on the ferrule, see it? It's still an amazing brush. It must be 10 years old, this brush. I've got about 5 of them. They're at different spots around. I've used it to dry brush, I've used it to base, I've used it to detail. And I just give it a good clean out every few months. And I love it. I love that brush. But find what's great for you. I think when you're a newer painter, a bigger brush is best, because you want to just you want to get your base colours down and colour in and be as neat as you can. But you want that paint to flow, because I think when you're a newer painter you can be quite impatient. So using a smaller brush will frustrate you, because you're not getting as much paint on the model. But just find what you're comfortable with, what works, what you feel comfortable with, and go with it and crack on from there. But I think the layer brushes are about a number 2, I think, which is a good brush, which is generally what everyone will go to. Also, I'm assuming GW base brushes aren't meant to have a perfect point. Well, not that one. That one I've got is like a flat-tipped, tapered brush. But any brush that's a round brush like that you should always try and get it to a decent point. What's that one? I've got a GW brush here, which is a shade brush. Now that is not a decent point. Look at that. That's a mess. It's blunt, but it's a shade brush. It's just for slapping shade on. Holds a lot of the liquid. Jamie says, I use a selection of brushes and don't pay attention to what the brushes are called. I use the right size for the job. The only exception is being dry brushes. It's okay. Sorry for don't worry about the spam, mate. Any questions, ask. No silly questions in this chat, my friend. If we can help out, we'll help out. No problem. How much are those? If I'm wasting cash on GW, I'll grab 2 from someone else. Well, it depends. If you're not happy with them, then yeah, I'd say if you don't feel comfortable with them, try a different brand. But if you're a new painter, maybe persevere a little bit, because it might not be the brush, it just might be the techniques that you're using, and that's not me having, you know what I'm trying to say. So just persevere a little bit, get good with the brush that you've got, because you should be able to paint with anything as long as it's got a decent point. Really, you should be able to paint with anything. Yeah, I think it's because I'm using a base brush, not really got a tip on it. That's your problem. That's your problem. Army Painter brushes are good for the price, cheap and easy. I've not used Army Painter brushes, so I couldn't say. Brave Place says okay. I think they've got the most wanted brush. Don't know what that is. Talking about painting, I've got a couple of questions. Yeah, shoot, mate. No problem. There's a lot of good painters in the chat tonight. Joe says, I like the Army Painter dry brush, using a mixture of Element and Rosemary and Co. for everything else at the minute. The Army Painter dry brushes, the kind of they mimic these, didn't they, the Series D. I've not tried the Army Painter ones. Haven't tried them, but if they're anything like these, I'll never buy another dry brush. I'll never buy another dry brush. I think I've got a set out that I'm using, dotted around, a full set. I've got 2 more boxes. Probably going to give one away in the Patreon chat for the channel the next time I do a Patreon chat. And then I've got 1 spare, and I'll pick another one up at some point as well, just in case, because I'm just really worried that they'll just stop making them, because they're an amazing brush, but they've been sort of copied now by a few different firms who are just doing similar, very cheap. But from reading some of the forums and stuff, I don't think they're the same. Don't think you get the same thing. What do you call it? Results. But I don't know. I've not tried them. What's the fundamentals about painting everyone should consider buying as a beginner? So what should you buy? Just get a decent couple of brushes at different sizes. If you come to me now and you've not painted before, you've not got any brushes, I'd recommend the Element Games Regiment brush. That'd be it, because it's cheap more than anything. It's cheap, but the quality is superb. But if you're in the States, I'm not sure. You'd have to check on the website, see if you can get them. Failing that, I think these deliver to the States, Rosemary and Co, and they look like they're all right. Look like they're pretty good. I'll tell you in a minute. But some decent quality brushes. There's loads out there. Just get some decent quality brushes. Don't go crazy. Don't buy an uber expensive set of brushes. But get a set of brushes that's maybe got 3 brushes in it, like a number 2, something for your washes, so like I don't know, a number 3 or 4, and then maybe one a little bit finer. But you don't touch the one that's finer than a 2 yet. Wait till you're at the stage of ready to paint eyes and do little details, and maybe try a little bit of freehand, which is way down the line. But at least you've got them, and you'd be used to that set of brushes. And look after them. Get some brush soap, 100%. So brush soap, obviously a water pot, and a wet palette. Since using a wet palette the first time, I don't think I've painted without one. They're fantastic. Great stuff. Yeah, it's more likely the issue is me being new. Probably, mate. Just be patient. Paint as often as you can. Try and paint, even if it's only for 20 minutes. Try and paint as often as you can. If you can paint every day, fantastic. But sometimes that's not always a thing that you can do. I can't do that at the moment, but I wish I could. And I think it's like anything else, painting. I always used to say playing golf was a lot like painting, and vice versa, because I used to play golf many moons ago. When I stopped playing football, I started playing golf, and it was one of those things where I just clicked with it straight away, and I really enjoyed it. And I think I really enjoyed it because I was doing well. But it was one of those things that if I didn't go to the driving range, or if I didn't go and do 8 or 9 holes on the way home 2 or 3 times a week, you just forgot everything. You forgot how to hold the club, you forgot how to swing, the muscle memory went. And I find that with painting as well. When you're painting consistently if you paint consistently for about a week, if you offer up the model you painted on the Monday to the model you painted on the Sunday, I think there'll be a vast difference. And I think if you carry on doing that, it will continue that way. And don't try and run before you can walk. I've said this loads. People will be in the chat bored of hearing me say it. I always say like painting by numbers. So this as an example, if I was painting this model and I was a brand new painter, what I would say is let's say he's going to be an ultramarine, so he's not going to be light blue, he's just going to be your normal ultramarine blue. I would say paint the whole model blue, not thick, couple of thinner coats, and an absolutely amazing painter called Tommy Sewell taught me once, as long as it's smooth and it goes on well, you're all right. You don't have to go in with every brush stroke to paint it on. He would actually stab it all on with a wider brush, thin down, just make sure there was no pooling. He'd stab it all over the model, dry it with a hairdryer, then go in and stab it again, and it would look perfect every time. It looked like he'd done it with an airbrush. It was amazing. Get that done. That's the majority of it done, and then paint by numbers, which is basically what I'm doing here. So you can just see, I'm picking out the different colours. I went all black with the gun, and then I picked out some of the silver. So I've done all the armour, the blue, and now I'm picking out the gold. I picked out the brown, and just being as neat as possible with it. And you'll be, if I get to the stage of putting a wash on this, the model will look totally different. It looks a bit naff now, but it'll look totally different once a wash goes on it. Get your base colours down neat. Get your lines neat. And you can't go wrong. You're onto a winner. Wolf says, and speaking about brush care, how do you guys clean your brushes? Use acetone or just rinse them with water immediately? So I'll go grab it and I can show you what I use. So let's have a look. Where is it? Oh, I'm lying. I can't find it. Can't find my pink soap. Right, so I've made myself out to be a massive liar, because I actually have 3 painting stations. I have a terrain painting station and 2 normal painting stations, so I move stuff around and it's a bit of a mess in there. But basically there's a brush soap that you can get. I can't remember the name of it, but if you go on eBay and search brush soap, you'll find it. It comes off a little screw lid, and all you do is at the end of your painting session, get your brush wet, go around in the brush, get the soap on it, get it to a point, rinse the water off, do it again, repeat that 2 or 3 times. And then what I tend to do as well then is, because I've got soap in my water, I'll get some water on it and I'll get my brush. Tastes like crap, but get my brush to a nice point, so it's still got a little bit of soap on it. Because what that'll do is it'll set on the brushes, the soap will harden and keep it to a nice point. Pop it on your thing, and then next time you use it, you just rinse it in the water first before you start. Rinse the soap off and you're good to go. I also use something called, it's actually just called pink soap. And again, you'll find that on eBay, and that is great for when you've got some like real grimy crap around your ferrule. Pink soap's amazing and smells really nice. So I have 2 soaps, and if you buy the Art of Soap as sets, you get like a brush soap with it. But there's tons of brands out there. Just get any soap, just to wash the thing off. If you look after your brushes will look after you. But yeah, you can use acetone. I'm not sure what that will do to the glue in the ferrule. That's the only thing I'd say. I think people who use oil paints, the brushes don't last as long because they're using really harsh cleaners to clean them, and I think it affects depending what glue they've used for the brush. Joe says, I'm talking about the standard dry brush from my painter, stiff bristles and cut at an angle. Ah, right, so you're not talking about the rounded, like, sort of makeup-y brush ones. Okay. Have I got one of those? What's this one? Oh, that's not one of them, innit? I've got a stupid amount of brushes. Really stupid. Wolf says, oh, you're from Germany, by the way. Okay. GW seems to me like wasting money, way expensive, that stuff. I think any big company is going to have a markup on stuff. It's like anything. If you go to any model company and buy PVA glue in a little bottle that size, you're gonna pay roughly the same amount. It's over there, can't look at it. That I'd pay at a builder's yard for 5 litres of it. It's crazy. The markup's crazy, but that's the way of the world, isn't it? Yeah, brush soap. Jolsman says GW minis are second to none, but for pretty much everything else, you're paying for the brand, even if the quality isn't superior. Yeah, I think that's the way of big companies. That's just how it is. But I think they're good. I think for people coming into the hobby, GW products are fine. And it's like I said before, I think you'll get to a stage where you could sit down and pick up any brush that's got a point and do it. If you're a proficient painter, you could paint a model to a pretty alright standard. Yeah. And then Wolf asked Joe, was mainly speaking about the painting materials, paints, brushes, etc. The minis are considerably fine price compared to Forge World. He says, okay, that helped me out a lot. Jamie says, 2 thin coats is a must for painting. I like to paint from inside out, paint undershirts, faces first, then work outward. Easier to paint over a spill area on an area you haven't painted. Correct. That's normally what I do. Normally. Middle Earth minis I tend to do. Yeah, it's like the lower garments, skin, the lower garments, upper garments, armour details. Right, let's get some more paint on these. So I'm diving back in with this fancy brush, Dan. Let's see how we do. If you are watching, there's 22 in the chat. Do make yourself known. Let us know you're in. Let us know what you're working on. Be interested to know. I'm not using this fancy brush, Dan, to mix the paint and all that. I'll use that. I lost it. The water. Right. Okie dokie. Okay, so the bristles are longer on these, Dan, which makes them a little bit, for me, I like a shorter bristle, but I can see, although I prefer a shorter bristle, just because I like to have a bit of, you want to put in the bristle, you want to put in the brush to the model. I like to feel that little bit of resistance, but because the bristles are longer, I don't get that. But the offset of that is the paint flows off these brushes beautifully. Really nice. Really, really nice actually. Very smooth. I like that a lot. So I think, Dan, I'll allow it. Oh, sorry, I'm painting behind the thingy there. Right? So I'll give you that, Dan, yeah. I'll give you that, mate. Original Human says, hello, how you doing, Original Human? I'm not sure how you got your name to be in a grey box, but it looks pretty cool, my mate. Jolesman says, I always tend to paint from inside out. The exception is if there are areas that I want to dry brush or knock them out away. Yeah, you can dry brush before. That's the beauty of the Series D from Artist Opus. They do so they come in different sizes. What sizes have I got here? So that is medium. That's the medium, and then goes up to like this, which is large, which is great for doing stippling. And then let's have a look. You've got this one, which needs a clean, which is small. And then this is what you want, Joe. Love this one. Look at the size of that extra small Series D dry brush for when you forget to dry brush that little bit of chainmail. It's perfect. And again, I've said it on loads of streams, I highly, highly recommend you go to the Artist Opus. Excuse my accent. Again, not everyone's from the UK. The Artist Opus YouTube channel, and watch my mate Byron, who designed these brushes and owns Artist Opus. Watch some of the stuff he does with those, will blow your mind. And the very weird thing is, they're dry brushes, but you actually slightly wet them to get the best effect, which I never ever thought about, but since trying it, we'll never not do it. Right. So I've got a nice solid, I've gone a bit, obviously where I've put a bit of gold on there, that's really annoying, but I'll sort that out. Nice solid gold base on him. Next one. I'm just starting to get into 40k, really enjoy the lore. Also, the grey box means I'm a verified YouTuber. Awesome. How do you get to be a verified YouTuber then, Original Human? And it's a pleasure to have you, mate. Pleasure to have you. Thanks for joining. I too am only just getting into 40k, really. I'm painting up these, if you weren't here in the chat earlier, painting up these, which is my sort of the army that I really want, Space Wolves. But I am going to be collecting the new Imperium magazine. I'm painting up some Ultramarines. I already have a lot of Ultramarines actually painted from the Conquest magazines, Dreadnoughts and stuff. But I'll be painting up the new stuff in the Ultramarine colours. It's really just iconic, isn't it? Ultramarine blue. Yeah, but welcome. Jamie agrees with Joe. Dan says, they take a lot getting used to. The winds are shorter, and you do get that feedback from the brush on model surface, but I love the way the paint flows. Yeah, brilliant for glazing. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And the Winsor Newton, you can get sort of like stubby ones as well, like which are even shorter, which I really, really, really like. Really like them. Alexander says, "Gotta go. It was great to hang out with all of you again. Cheers, Steve. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming. If you've not already gone, I hope to see you in a future stream. And it was great to chat, my friend. Take care. I've got a complete set of Series D. Really need to watch some of their vids. I just never seem to find time. Just pop them on while you're painting, Joe. Not while there's a top table stream on though, or a battle streams in Middle Earth, obviously. But yeah, they're well worth watching, mate. They're awesome. Byron's just a cool guy as well. He's quite easy to listen to. He explains things really well. He explains things in a way that's not condescending because he's a very talented painter. Yeah, it's really cool. Highly recommend that channel. Only one I haven't got any use of so far is the tiny one for weathering cloaks. Yeah, I've got my Atlas Opus, but not used them. Waiting for my AAT tank to use them, like Byron did. Well, try to. Let us know how you get on with that. Yeah, he did an amazing job. Not sure what the criteria is for verification. I think it's a certain amount of subs. Okay. So if you got? I take it then you've got a channel. Obviously, I'm gonna. How do I click on your name? Is it called Original? I'm gonna have a look at your thing then. Original Human. Are you a gamer anyway, or? She's just been reading about a big fan of Space Wolves, Tout, and Imperial Guard. I'm very interested now. Original Human. Very interested. Evening Paper Pirate will say, so if you have an army, group, or whatever to paint, what's the go-to strategy of painting them? Model by model or picking a detail and painting every model? And if so, what's the advantages? So, everybody's different. Everybody's will find what suits them best. For me, I paint. If I've got to paint an army and I want to get them done fairly quick, I tend to paint in groups of either 6 or 8. That's my sweet spot. I can go more, but it starts to feel a bit tedious because I'm painting the same thing over and over and I get a bit bored. Between 6 and 8 models, and yeah, I just do every stage on at the same time on them. So I will prime them all at the same time. I'll do all. Let's just say it's a standard man model who's got brown pants, white shirt, black shoes. He's Caucasian. I'll start with the skin. So I'll do the Caucasian skin. I'll put the base colour on. I'll then do his shirt. I'll then do his pants, and then I'll do his shoes. Make sure it's neat. And then you have an option of either highlighting from there, which if you're a new painter, I don't recommend doing that. I recommend just going straight in with a wash because you get a lot of satisfaction from seeing what a wash does. I think anyway, and I think it can sort of spur you on to keep going. But if I was doing it now, I'd highlight and then wash. That's what I'd do. But I do that because I don't need that instant satisfaction now because I know when I put the wash on, it'll look all right. And yeah, just do each stage on each model. So paint the skin, next model, paint the skin, next model, paint the skin, done, all the skin. Right, where's my, I'm going to give him a beige shirt, get beige, paint the shirt on that one, shirt on that one, shirt on that one, and so on and so forth. And do that on every stage till you get to the end. And before you know it, you've got an army painted or a squad painted or whatever. Gaetan says, where do you find a wet palette? Is that similar to the GW one? I'm using the GW one, but it seems like the paint's drying super quick, so I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. Have you got a wet palette, Gaetan, or have you got that sort of little pad that they sell? A wet palette should be obviously wet, so it's got a sponge underneath which you wet first, and then you put your like greaseproof paper stuff on the top. And it stays wet from the bottom because the paper keeps soaking up the water and keeps your paint nice and wet. But I use the Redgrass Games XL, which is spot on. I think like the normal size wet palette's too small for me because I'm quite messy and I spread things out. So I use the XL. If I'm not mistaken, Dan Collister has a very neat XL as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. But yeah, any brand, they're all very similar. But I can't. If you're asking for a recommendation, then it would be Redgrass Games XL wet palette from me all day long. It's bob on. I'm happy with that. Do you see what I mean about when you put the second layer on? I'm going to try. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but can you see the difference? How more rich this one is? That's what Retributor armor should look like. That gold compared to that, which is quite light. And that's why I put two thin coats on. And obviously, I'm reading the chat. That's why it's taking so long. If I was just sat here painting, I would have done this a lot quicker. Original Human says, yeah, my channel name is Original Human. What? 360,000 subs, Original Human. Flipping heck, mate. What are you doing here? What's your channel about, mate? What's your channel? That's insane. Jesus. But welcome, mate. Flipping heck. You should be telling me what to do. By heck. Yeah, Jamie's saying Redgrass Games wet palette is the one. Gaetan says thanks. Wolf says, well, if it's really you, thank you for the service and greetings from a German comrade. Praise Blake says, sorry, yet to you, Shades. How much do you apply? Lol. It's really hard to describe without like practically showing you, but basically I'll try because you've asked. I'll try. So what you want to do, what I found with shades is, if you watch a video of someone putting shades on, like if we get to that stage state, it will look like I'm slapping it on, and I will be slapping it on. And when I say slapping it on, I mean getting quite a lot on my brush and just getting it on. But one thing that you still have to control it, because if it pools, you get these like tide marks and like coffee stain marks, which you really don't want. But I think it's going to be really hard to avoid doing that when you first start painting. So make the mistakes. The best way to learn, what I'd say is, and I think the best bit of advice that I could give you, because there's far better painters out there than me. Don't worry about making mistakes. If you don't make the mistakes, you're not going to learn, and you're not going to understand when things go wrong why they've gone wrong. But by making mistakes, you learn so much. And don't let it dishearten you when you make a mistake, because at the end of the day, regardless of how much time or effort you've put into it, if you cock a model up, you can just strip it and start again. So don't put too much into it in that sense. Don't think every model that comes off your brush, so to speak, has to be a work of art and look like the models that are on the box art, because they won't be. You've got to accept that they won't be when you first start painting. And if you can make peace with that and just accept that you're going to be of a certain level to begin with, and keep improving, then you'll be all right. Now there are exceptions to that. There are some crazy people who pick up a brush for the first time and are just stupendously good at painting, but that's very, very rare. But yeah. Dan Collister, I use Redgrass XL, but I'm a painter. Do one. Yes, Pray for Place. Could always make you can make wet palettes. Before I had this one, I had one made from a Tupperware dish, which was just basically a kitchen, I think they call them a super sponge. It's like a really dense sponge that you clean your pots with or your kitchen sides, with some greaseproof paper over the top. Exactly the same thing. Obviously these are made specifically and are made for purpose, so they're a lot better. But you could make one like that, no problem. Original Human, I'm here to learn to paint. Well, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. And if you learn anything from me, then it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Welcome. Jamie says, with shades, it's easy to want to use out of the pot, but I like to use a palette to control how much is gone on the brush. Yes, So with shades, I mean, that's a good point actually, Jamie. It is something that I forgot. So with shades, you can use them straight out of the pot, and they'll be fine. I generally now, as a slightly more experienced painter, thin them 50-50 with a medium or even water. It's fine. If you can get water, it's fine. I think you can get deionized water, which is probably best. You can get that from a supermarket or store, depending where you're from. And thin them 50-50. And I would much prefer to put 2 thin shades on than 1 thick one. I think you can control it more, and I think the transparency of the 2 going over rather than 1, you get a better transition from the higher points to the lower points, and you get a nicer transition into the shadow, I think. But when you're starting out, don't worry about that too much. Let me try and explain what I used to do when I was first painting, and I'll use this brush, and I'll do the best that I can on the top-down camera, and bear in mind. So let me zoom out a little bit. Always shake. You need to shake everything before you open it. But if you don't shake these, whatever's in there, whatever they've used to make this liquid, to make this shade, there is something in there that settles to the bottom, which is the matte properties of the shade. And if you don't shake them, when you put your shade on, it will be shiny. So always shake them. Apologies if the camera's shaking everywhere. Always shake them. And then, before I had a wet palette, this is what I used to do when I used to first start thinning my shades down. So I'd open my lid, like so, and can you see that I've got this bit of the liquid in the top part of the lid? Yeah, I'd top that up, so it's got a bit more in there, and then I'd get a drop of water on, just on that bit, not into the pot, just on the lid. Boom, a drop of water, and then mix it in there, and that way I am not diluting what's in the pot. You know, I'm not getting anything in there that shouldn't be in there. I'm mixing it in the lid, and then I'm putting it on the model. And that's what I used to do before I had a wet palette. Now I've got a wet palette, it's easy. I can just put it on the wet palette. But the other thing is, when you're applying a shade, again, when you're a new painter, it's quite hard to judge how much paint you've got on your brush and brush control, etc. Don't start at the bottom and work your way up, because if you get up to the top and you still got loads of liquid on your brush and you get it all on and it all starts to pool and dry, start at the top and use what you've put at the top and work it down the model. So let gravity do a job, let it pull everything down to the bottom, which it will drop down. So when you put your wash on and you put your model to the side, when it's sat there, gravity will make that, if you put a lot of liquid on, it will make that liquid roll down the model to the bottom, and then you'll get pooling at the bottom. So start at the top and work your way down and drag what's at the top down to the bottom, and then always soak up anything that's around the feet. Soak it up, put it off, and I always just keep checking back in on the models for about 2 or 3 minutes, because then after that point it starts drying. But that's the best tips I can give you. The best tip I can give you is get a model and start throwing it on there, and I think you'll be alright. It is just about trying it, sucking it and see. Pray for plays. Thanks, peeps. Yeah, it's hard to get that out of your head. I just want it to be perfect. Using Lothlorien, and I just want it looking good. Yeah, everybody, you're no different than everyone else, mate. And everybody wants that, and you'll get there. Just concentrate on your base colours. Get your base colours on. Forget about shades. Forget about highlights. Get your base colours on and get them neat. Get your lines crisp. So where one colour is next to another colour, make sure it's a nice, crisp transition from one to the other, and it's not like all smudged or blended. And then when you've done that, when you put your shade on, the shade will create a nice split between the two colours. Like you'll get, like if it's in a crease, you'll get like a nice line, and it will just look awesome. If you nail getting your base colours on nice and neat, when you put your shade on, it will look amazing. I promise you. I promise you. Wolf says, oh, talking about stripping a model, I'm quite certain my models back in that drawer are completely messed up. How do I remove the paint, or do I just overpaint it? So generally, you want to strip it, but it depends how thick the paint is that's on. So this, at the beginning of the stream, I mentioned that I found this, which was my son painted many moons ago, old Isengard troll. and I'm going to repaint him. I'm not going to strip him because the paint's on very thin. If it was something that I was really bothered about, I would strip it, and you can get stuff which is either quite harsh. You could use isopropanol, which will take paint off, any paint stripper. We have something called Dettol in the UK, which you probably have something of the like in Germany or the States. I think you get Dettol in Europe, right? Dan will know. Dan knows things like this. That will strip it, pop it in. One thing I would highly suggest is don't leave whatever you use to strip them. Don't leave it in it overnight. Keep checking back. If they're metal, it's fine. Just if they're plastic, don't leave them in overnight because they turn to jelly. Another thing which I recommend if you want to be considerate of the environment is something called BioStrip, and it's like a creamy gel, and you can just leave them in. Have like a quite a stiff brush and wear gloves, even though it's fine. I've used it, I've got it on my skin, it's no problem. Take them out, brush the paint off as much as you can. When you've got off as much as is going to come off, pop it back in, let it soak up in the BioStrip again, and then do it. And just keep repeating that process till the paint's come off. It's not the best of jobs, it's really tedious, but it's worth doing. It's worth doing. Where are we up to? Pray for plays. Heard you played football. Me too. What position? When I say I played football, I didn't play it professional or semi-professional. I used to play Saturday League and Sunday League football, which is amateur football. But I used to play a lot of football. I love football. I used to play five-a-side twice a week, and then I'd play a match on Saturday and Sunday for probably about 15 years of my life. I played football. My knees are absolutely wrecked. But when I first started to play, I was right back. I played centre back, but I'm not very tall. I'm only 5'10", so I wasn't good in the air, but I was great at everything else, centre back. And then went into midfield, played midfield for a bit, and then in the latter stages went back into anywhere in the back four, really. But yeah, missed playing football, but I just had to stop. It wasn't. I've got quite a physical job, and I would play on a Sunday. I went from playing Saturday and Sundays just to playing Sundays, and then I'd play on a Sunday, and I'd be in absolute agony till probably Thursday. My knees would be just shot, and then they'd start to feel better on the Friday. They'd be all right on the Saturday, and then I'd play football again on the Sunday, and then they'd be wrecked again for another 4 days. It was terrible. So I had to stop. That's why I started playing golf, because I didn't hobby then. I didn't paint. I wasn't into this hobby then, and I couldn't sit still. So when I stopped playing football, I just didn't know what to do with myself, and then I thought, right, well, I need another sport, so I started playing golf, and I enjoyed that as well. Meth spirits for plastics and metals. Resin a bit more tricky. Yeah, resin has a tendency to go quite soft depending on what you use, but I've always been alright with BioStrip. Excuse me. A good piece of advice for new paint is do your base coats and try to be neat. If you paint over, tidy back up once you've done your base coats and do a wash and call it done. Yeah, it's very, very similar to the advice that I give. Don't try and run before you can walk. Don't start trying to wet blend before you realise how to get a nice even base coat on a model. Just do the basics. Start off basic. Nail each step of your journey. Nail getting the base colours on neat. Once you've nailed it, get on to putting your shades on. Once you've nailed that, then go on to highlights. Once you've nailed that, start working on your details. And once you've nailed that, then start going on to the more advanced techniques. Dry brushing is a very good one to pick up probably straight after the shade. Once you're happy with how you can shade, because dry brushing is quick result, quick, lot of satisfaction from seeing how to do it, and do it properly and not make it look chalky. Jamie says, can always go back and do highlights and details when you're more confident. Correct. Pray for Plague says, I've got a gloss wash and I'm doing Galathrim Warriors. I wanted an old but well looked after effect on the armour. Yeah, the gloss washes, they look alright. I think I own an Agrax gloss. But I've never used it. I think I bought it because somebody said, and I don't know which way round it was, But I remember reading somewhere that they said either do a gloss wash first and then a standard matte wash, and it looks really nice, or the other way around, and I can't remember what it was. If you're doing gold armor, good tip: practice it before do it on a practice model. Make sure you're happy with it before you do it. But is this stuff Seraphim Sepia over silver in thin coats? So do your armor in silver, a bright silver, like mithril silver. It's not mithril silver now, is it? What's it called now? The bright silver, whatever the brightest silver's called. Ironbreaker would work, but anything brighter than that would be even better. I think Vallejo do an aluminium silver, which is beautiful, really, really bright silver. A nice flat colour on your armour. Thin this down more than 50-50. Go on it quite thin. Put a layer of this on, let it dry. Put another layer on, let it dry. Put a third layer on. When you get onto your third layer, it looks beautiful. It looks gold. All the shading's done for you. It's got highlights. Looks fantastic. It's one type of gold though that you can't mess around with the actual colour that it ends up with, but it might not be for you, so that's why I say try it out first. But there's a really quick way of getting a really good gold. Jamie says on gold use a flesh wash. Yeah, it looks nice. Makes it look warm and really golden. Yep. There's a company, what are they called? Oh, flipping heck. The washes are in like a little white dropper bottle. And they do one, I think it's called Walnut Wash. And that's really nice on gold as well. Sell it at Element Games. It's great. Pray for Play Skeeve. I'm using Agrat's Gloss Wash. I'm following a guide on YouTube. Stick to it then. And you stick to that. Don't change it. Don't let us sway you. If you've got something, if you've got it set in your mind how that paint scheme is going to play out from start to finish, stick to it, see it through, see if you're happy with it. If you're happy with it, great, fantastic, that's your go-to for gold. If you're not at the end, then you can try different stuff. Jamie says on gold use a flesh wash. Yeah, we've done that one. Really gold. I've done that one. Yeah, done that one. Joe says I really like how brown purple mix for wash and golds. Yeah, purple's great. Purple's nice on flesh as well though. Really subtle but really nice. I'll tell you what is another one, and I've not tried it, but I watched a fella paint a bust, a Caucasian bust, and it was spectacular, the paint job. He started out with a green base coat, and apparently Caucasian skin has green tones to it, and he used a green base coat and literally went up from green. And right up until the last stage, it still looked green until like just the last bit, and then it was like he'd done the last bit, and it's just like, wow, that's amazing. How's he done that? You would not think that it had green in it, and it was like a U.S. Army green. It was weird but amazing to watch. Yeah, Agrax is good. Says Jamie Paintbrush Pirate. I agree with flesh washing. Looks amazing. As does purple. Yeah, Joe Holzman. About 3-to-1 mix Agrox and. I'm not going to try and say it's something violet in it, Druiki violet or something. Does Dettol leave like a muck on it? It shouldn't do if you scrub it all off with a brush. Biostrip, the Wilco version. Dettol is worldwide, I think. In the States, I would get Simple Green. Yeah, Simple Green they have in the States, don't they? Yeah. Paintbrush Pirate, if you're stripping metal, then acetone-free nail polish remover is great. Not sure what it's like with plastic, might melt it. Don't rate Dettol though, says Dan. And if you put water anywhere near it, it turns to sludge. Acetone melts plastic. The smell of Dettol as well, that's a bit grim. Pray for Plagues. Oh well, that's cool. Similar to me, I was where's my arrow gone? 5'9", yeah, I'm 5'10". Now play defensive midfield, centre midfield. Play Saturday high level. Sunday just with friends, so nothing serious. I'm having issues though. I have a leg length discrepancy. Yeah, you'll have a few problems with that. Pray for Play, so it makes walking very difficult on the Monday after the weekend. Yeah. Guardians of Wiltshire video, if you know. Yeah, of course I know them. Of course I know them. Joey's a friend of mine, good friend of mine. Me and Joey played doubles. That's not the last 7, well, the last 7 stones that there was. Dan says, was that Mark Masklins with the green on the bust? I know he does that. It could have been, I can't remember. I watched that many videos. Mate. You know when I'm painting, I just have them on in the background, and I just remember him saying, right, we're going to start with a green base coat, and I was like, what? but it looked fantastic. Joe says, I watch a lot of AMG streams. Dallas Kemp is amazing at painting skin and uses lots of greens and blues in his mixes. I'd love, do you know what? I would love to have that colour knowledge. I think I've got a little bit, like, you know, I use a colour wheel fairly regular just to, yeah, I mean, I use a colour wheel. Let me try and put this into words how I want it to come out. I use a colour wheel because Byron explained to me the dynamics of a colour wheel. So I use a colour wheel for that reason. But I'll watch. I mean, I've sat with Byron. I had an airbrush lesson with Byron, and I had to literally say to him, I don't know what you're talking about, a few times. I don't know what you're talking about. He was saying, oh, you know, like when you add this to this and it does this. I'm like, nope. I don't know that, mate. I don't know that. I wish I had that knowledge. I don't know where that knowledge comes from, how you learn it, how you see things that other people don't see, how you can know something by who would think of painting flesh starting with green? Where does that initial light bulb moment come from? It's crazy. Jamie says, Gary Wiltshire are awesome. Joey lives in the same town as me. Yeah, he's a good lad. He is a good lad and an awesome doubles partner. Right. So, let's have a look. Hold on, I'm going to tidy up them little bits. So, I'm just going to get the Ultron Grey might be a little bit light, but I'll try it. I've got some bits of metal on the armour. So I'm just going to... Oh, flipping heck, that's all dried up. Where's my sticky stick? My sticky stickerson. That's done. Back in 1 second, just need to stab this with something. Alright, we're cooking. We are cooking. So I'm just going to thin down this bit of Ultron Grey. Some water. Get this old brush. I'll thin it down quite a lot. I'll just glaze over these bits where I've got gold on. I'm ending up with a lot of brushes here. Yeah, I quite like these, Dan. Obviously, I think I need to use them a little bit more, but yeah, I quite like them. So you see that dot of metal which is there. I'm just gonna drag. I'm gonna drag that highlight out over there, which is fine. So as far as in reality, this highlight would not be where I'm putting it, but it is fine. It's just to hide that. It's always scary when you're doing it as well, because you put this on and it goes on and it's so stark. That's that one. Where's the other one that I painted? A bit there. How am I going to get in there? That's the question. It's actually a bit light, this Ultron Grey, but I'm hoping. Oh, look at that. I tell you what, that's what these are good for, Dan. A bit of the old edge highlight. That is nice. Yeah, I had no intention of edge highlighting these guys, but I'm just really tempted to play with that. Very nice. Where's the other one? Or was it just the gun? I thought I got a bit of gold somewhere else. I need a little bit of... Let me go and grab my other paints. Let's use some of this Vallejo Pale Blue. I'll jump back in the chat in a second, folks. I love this colour. Thin it a little bit. Oh, sorry, I'm off camera. I do apologise. Yeah. Gonna have to do the bloody other one now, aren't I? The other thing, like with Space Marines, which is quite cool, if you do a bit that you're not entirely happy with, you can hide it. You can like put battle damage on, put some markings on it, which is like really handy. Right, what shall I do next with those? I don't think I'm going to put any more details on them. I think I'll go in with some washes now then. Right, let's do it. So I'm going to go with Agrax on the browns. I'll do a highlight first. What's that? Highlight first, actually. I'll jump back in the chat. AMG are doing 3 days of live streams at the weekend after next. I believe Dallas is doing at least one stream on painting flesh, another on metallics. I'd highly recommend giving it a watch. I'll do that, Joe. I will. Dan says, try that book, Steve. I have it. It's great for establishing colour theory videos on oil painting. Which book? Oh, Mark Maskelyne's. Is that what you mean? Mark Maskelyne's. Let me know. Yeah, crisp edge highlight. It does look nice. Got to go for today. Learned a lot. Thanks for the patience. Was fun. Subscribe. We're back in the future. Have a nice evening. You too, man. And yeah, no patience needed, mate. It's an absolute pleasure. I've got a feeling this might be too much like the base colour. So add a bit of yellow. Where's my water from before? I lose track of where my water is because I can't flip and see it on the wet palette. It looks like a nice shade of what you find in a baby's nappy right now. But I think it'll do the job. Get rid of that yellow. this brush. Joe Achilles in. Hey man, says hi Steve. You look a little more rested than you did on last night. I was absolutely shattered last night. I'm not gonna lie. Absolutely shattered. Okay. Some little lines on there. What I'll do on all my Space Marine holsters. I'm basically just picking up the edges. Nothing major. Not really that bothered of them. If I don't hit every edge, or it's not as neat as I'd like it to be. I mean, remember these are general troops that I'm just trying to fire through, and I just want them to look okay from a few feet away on a camera. I probably don't have to do this bit if I'm honest, but I do really like how the paint's flowing off this brush. The non-resistance I'll have to get used to. But I do like it. Good recommendation, brother. Big split up that joint, see it? Look at that. It's a joke, that, isn't it? Amateur hour. It's too late now. So again, with these edge highlights, I'm just reinforcing the line. Don't know how well they're going to show up on camera, if they're showing up at all, but I can see them. I can see them here, so I know they're all right. And I'm actually going to do a wash after this, so even though I am going over these twice, I will go over them again a third time. A lot of it just does feel a bit tedious, but like it really is just worth doing it. And as like I said before, if I wasn't chatting away and I wasn't on the stream, I'll be flying through these. Hey Adam, how's it going? Yeah, PM it, Dan. PM it. Just painting up some Space Wolves, down, Adam, tonight. What are you working on at the moment, mate? Were you on? Am I remembering correctly that you were on some Marvel stuff last time? Hey Ninja Go, thanks Adam. That's that one done. Put some little, like I say, little leather, just a bit of detail, because it's a very flat surface there. Also put like some little scratches in the leather. I think it always looks quite nice. So what do people think of that, the fan-made video for Warhammer Fantasy? I think it looks awesome. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the old world coming back. I'm really looking forward to Cursed City box game, which I thought was going to be more time and it wasn't, but I'm pleasantly surprised how cool this game looks. Really excited about that. Need it to drop soon, though. Right, that's the leather done. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to hit the leather with some Agrax, and then I'm going to go across all the metals with Null Oil, and then I'm going to make a decision on whether to give the armour a wash or not. I'll see how it looks once I've done them. So I need some Null Oil. Black Widow and Hawkeye on Adam's desk. Yep, I thought it was you that was doing that. Weirdly enough, I've been watching the Iron Man movies. I've just started watching First Avenger again. I don't know why. There you go. I'm not bought into that game. I don't think I will buy into that game, to be honest. Not for any reason, just because it's just another game. There's other games that are due out that I'm holding out for, so I don't want to get just involved in a lot of games. I'm already involved in a lot of games. So yeah, to get a liberal coat of the Agrax on. Try not. It's not the end of the world if I get any on the armour, but I'm trying to be as neat as possible. Oh, sorry, I did it off screen now. So wherever there's pools, I'm just going to move it around, use the brush to move the wash around to where I want it. But it creates quite a nice effect. It's a nightmare painting on camera. That's alright. And the last one. I think I'll do the purity seal as well, because what I should have done was done the purity seal and washed it at this stage with the Agrax. So I do apologise for my schoolboy error. Got involved in loads of games and still know A Song of Ice and Fire. There's too much painting involved. I'd love to play that game. There's too much painting. Too much painting. It would take up so much of my time to paint that amount of miniatures. Let me grab this. Quickly pick out any of these purity seals that are on. So I get that. Oh, there's too much paint on that bloody brush. Sometimes it's a battle because they put the purity seals in different places all the time, and so I'm just trying to find the bloody purity seals. You can't find them for looking. We'll get up after a little and bring my minis. Yeah, mate, no problem. No problem. Jay was into A Song of Ice and Fire. He had a few armies. Adam says, I think that's one of the pluses of MCP for me. I'm a slow painter, so only having to do characters, not troops, is a bonus for me. Yeah, I know what you mean. I like that universe. I'm just, I don't know. I think you've got to like really like it, haven't you? Like for me to that game up, it would have to take the place of one of the other systems that I'm either in the middle of doing or I've got my heart set on. And it just, at the minute, for me, I don't love it that much to do that. I'm just going to go and grab a dark red. Bear with me a second. Oh, I've got a thing here to show you as well. Red, so I don't have to keep coming back. So that was Word Bearers red, I think. Before I do that though, I got sent some stuff. I've actually done a video on one of them already, which I'll probably release tomorrow. But the company Zaturdes sent me a load of stuff. Can you see? Zoom out. I don't want to knock anything over. Oh, he says as he knocks over everything on his flipping desk. Like 40k terrain. So I got some of these, like 40k era stuff. I got some fantasy stuff that they sent me. Some stuff that is obviously aimed at Lord of the Rings, which I've done the video on. And I'll release that tomorrow. But it's quite good. I was quite impressed with it. I've seen it. I've been aware of Zaturdes for a while. Been tempted to buy some of the stuff a few times. I actually think that what got me into building, like, this is brand new pot. What got me into building like the terrain stuff that I built for Lord of the Rings was the fact that I was looking for somewhere that sold it to save me the time, and either nowhere did it or it was mega expensive. And I looked at some of the Zaturdes stuff at the time, but yeah, just was put off. But it's better than I expected it to be. But I've done a video on it, so I think I'll release the video tomorrow. Have a look tomorrow, and it's more Lord of the Rings themed. But then I'm going to do something with the 40k stuff because I want to make a 40k board. So I just want to, because this is so stark against the blue, I want to make sure I don't smudge or have like a weird edge. Oh, I'll tell you what, Dan. I don't like going to this brush after using that nice one. That nice fancy one that I've just got used to using. I don't know if that's because this is an older brush. I've used this for all sorts. I'm yet to try the broken toad stuff. Not tried a broken toad yet. I keep saying that I will, and then just don't. Right, that's them done. Paint on my bloody microphone. Sorry if that was very loud. I only realised when I was rubbing it off, I was thinking, oh, it's the microphone. Sorry about that. Right, so while I wait for them to dry before I wash them, let's do the null oil over the silver bits. Joe says, yeah, MCP only needs 10 characters, a really small time investment to get into. Jamie said, I'd spend too long on each heroes, they're all heroes. Adam says, and they've delved into the comic lore as well, so there's loads of directions to go in. Yeah, I think they'd have had to, wouldn't they, at some point, to keep it going. I get them more for painting, as I've not had a chance to play a game of it due to lockdown. Apparently the game's supposed to be pretty good. Pretty good. It's like the way they've designed it has got like that real vibe for like superheroes with the rules and the things you can do and stuff like that. The models are great. I mean, I love the Hulk model. Hulk model's fantastic. Of course, I end up buying it all anyway because I'm stupid like that. Yeah, join the club, Joe. Right, I'm heading off. Thanks all again. Thanks for the help again. No problem. Play for plagues and pray for plagues. It's a mouthful, that, mate. Have fun, stay safe, and I hope to see you in one of the streams again soon, brother. And let us know how you get on with your painting, mate. It'd be interesting to find out. So I'm just slapping some null oil on the silver parts. Like that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love the game, but I've not been able to play many games either because of lockdown. It's the same for everyone, isn't it? Hey guys, hope you all just finished work. Thought I'd drop by. Says Underdog Painting. Welcome, mate. Welcome. Just finished work. Flipping heck. Work's kicking my ass at the minute. There's like loads of videos I want to film. Some of them I need to get in the studio to film. Some of them I can do from home, but they're quite time consuming, and it's like, do I film this one video, which means that I won't be able to live stream this week, I won't be able to do that other little video, or do I do a live stream and release 2 short videos? And I tend to go for the other option, not the long video. I think it's obvious what they are. They're terrain videos, obviously. Yeah, so just getting this wash on the silver just to give it a bit of a tarnish, bit of a definition, dropping it into, letting that pick up the details. I really don't want to get it on the blue. I'll even go over the Black Templar, because it will matte that down and darken it a bit. It's a bit light for my liking still. Not to the point where I'm going to start going over it again with Black Templar, but it's a bit light. This null oil's a bit thin, actually. Sorry, Jamie. Could you recommend where to buy a 3D printed Ammon hen, Steve? Being after one to paint up. Well, do you mean kind of like this stuff here? Oh, this stuff here. Okay, it's beautiful. Yeah, so a friend of mine, Andy, from a company called Mansion Props. He's on Facebook, and he also has an online store. He does a lot of movie props. That's who done mine for me. So yeah, hit him up, Mansion Props. Let him know where you found him when you speak to him. I'd be greatly appreciative. The best Am and Hen kit that anyone has done. I think it looks more like Am and Hen than the wetter Am and Hen. I'll go as far as to say that when he pointed some things out to me that were glaring mistakes on the wetter version that he corrected on his. He's a bit of a perfectionist. Okay. Still not darkening it down enough that I want it to be. So I'm giving it a second pass on most of it. I want it to look really tarnished and grim dark and all that 40k keyword stuff. What are you working on, Reese, at the moment? Al says, just want to say, I'm finding these art troopers a nightmare to put together. I tried magnetising one of them too. Great. It's not what I need to hear, man. That comment might have just worked him a few places down my priority list. Dab it on to get the paint off the brush. Want to get it in them little creases. Oh, let's get someone there, don't I? Give that face mask a little bit of definition. Hey. Underdog says, I'm going to film some video next week and live stream 10 a.m. Monday. Nice one. Jamie says, is that an exclusive? It's the first time I've heard you say the company name. Why did you struggle? What did you struggle with, Al? I really enjoyed building. Mansion Props. Yeah, well, I don't think anyone else is talking about it, so you heard it here first. I think when people see that, especially when I get it on the board that I'm getting it on, how it looks, I think he'll do all right. It's an amazing kit. It is a stunning kit. And we might be working on something together. Possibly. Maybe. Sorry, I'm off camera again, aren't I? I do apologise. Al's at the moment, mate. Bought another pack of Miracle Warriors and got a commission I'm currently working on for a mate of Riv Knights. Al says, just it seems the legs and arms go wayward when gluing them. We'll be buying one of those Hammer Hen sets. We'll let him know you sent me. Yeah, defo. Defo, let him know. Let him know, mate. Tell him I was bigging him up. Try and get him to do some more Middle Earth stuff. While I had the I could have done the gold actually in Agrax, thinking about it. It wouldn't have been that bad. Oh, look at that. And that. I've not painted them silver. What a douche. What a douche. I'm still waiting for Steve to buy a 3D printer and start up his I Can You Can print channel. Yeah. I don't know. As tempting as it is to get a 3D printer, I just don't think that I'm going to get one. Who knows? Never say never. But right now, probably not. I mean, I want one. Don't get me wrong. Just being sensible. I haven't got the time. I haven't got the time to learn how to use it. A bit of knowledge goes into it from what I can make out, and I don't have that knowledge. I forgot to paint a gun handle there as well. This is where you start noticing things, but it's not the end of the world. It's only small things. Not happy at all with this null oil. It's very, very thin. This is straight out the pot as well. This is like one of the rare times when I want it to be quite not as translucent. Yeah, so in the lid there. I'm just thinking maybe is this, because what I sometimes tend to do when my wash pots get about half full, but normally I take the sticker off, but when they get half full I'll top them then up and open a fresh one and just use that as like a thinned one. That's what it feels like going on. My Facebook Messenger is blowing up, Mr. Dan Collister. There's a lot of chat going on in the Patreon chats. Yeah, got to do the eyes as well. Missed them bits off his helmet, so I'll do that now. That's that. Jamie says, right, that may have been why I found it easier. I did bodies one day and the rest the next. Al says, like the little notch for the arms doesn't give you the proper position where to put them. I found that a bit with the normal clones. What is it? I kind of just knew where they went, if you know what I mean. I had to sort of just go with it. I'm going to stop in a bit, getting frustrated. Better leave it till tomorrow. Yeah, it's always good just to step away from something when it's doing you ready. Jamie agrees that they're quite hard. Just lost an arm on the floor now. Got it back, it's fine. And Dan's talking about orcs. Right, let's get... Do I go Flash Wash or do I go Agrax? Do I be lazy because I've only got Agrax to hand and I haven't got Flash Wash? Or do I go and get it? I'll go and get it. Flipping heck. Right, let's get this done. Let's get this on first. Sorry, I'm off camera again. How are you recently? Come along, Steve. Look forward to seeing your Camille painted. Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. I was just saying at the beginning of the stream, I've got a Dragon Knight now, which is next up as a treat because I've painted loads of the troops. So I'm hoping to get him done this week. I can go over the red thing with that as well, can't I? Yeah, that'd be quite nice. Yeah, so I'm going to get him done and then back on some more troops. And then I'm hoping we get a pre-order soon. For the new stuff, if I can get everything done, or at least 2/3 of the army that I've got done before the new stuff drops, I'll be happy. Be a happy man. I'm off camera again. Flipping heck. Especially like putting this wash on the gold because it's so fiddly the bits, and I've got to do like some painting handle gymnastics to get into the areas. So I keep going off. So I do apologise, people, if it's annoying. You tune into a live stream painting thing and you can't bloody see what I'm painting. Oh, it just makes it look so nice, that, doesn't it? It's a bit out there that I can't get to, but I'm not gonna lose any sleep over that. Again, because of the position, I'm just gonna have to stabby stab in there. I'm thinking actually with the armour is it will really darken them down though. I'm thinking of going over the whole model at the end with a really thin null oil, but it will really, really, really darken the armour, and I quite like the armour, so I don't know if just to leave that. Am I overthinking it? Like I say, I'm not that bothered. European troops. Lovely jubbly. Right, while I've got the flash wash out, I may as well give that Bugman's Glow a little washy wash. Just move it around, get it in the areas where I want it to be. It's not a lot of flesh on him anyway, but right. Too bad, does it? What do you think? Not terrible, did he? Looking alright. I think it was sort of... I mean, I put red on his hand there like an absolute whopper. But, you know, other than being a messy get, not too bad. Not much of this Agrax left. Just put some on the Purity seal. Water it down a little bit. Do my little lid. Watery downy trick. Just I don't want it to shade it as such. I just want to get some definition to the sort of creases on the parchment and get a bit of separation from that metal. How the bloody hell is it? So the thing is, it's very boring for you guys, but when I don't talk, I get things done quite quick. But I'm going to jump in the chat in a second. Let them washes dry off. What time are we on? Bloody hell, it's 11:25. We must be friggin' mental. Where are we up to? Mr. Macklin's in. How you doing, mate? Looking good, Steve. The models are pretty tidy as well. Whoop, whoop. Gaetan says, speaking of Easterlings, any guess when we'll get the new models book out? It's going to be around 3 months, isn't it, from when we actually see them? So, I think Treebird first. Treebird this month, because obviously Damien's right, sod. For the last March of the Ents, we'll get the Treebird and the Forge World stuff, and then it'll be the Easterlings, I think, after that. Yeah, take it easy, Jamie. Take care, mate. No problem. I'm not going to hang around much longer myself. I think for tonight I'm going to call it on these 3 doodaloods. I'll put them there and zoom out. They're getting there. I think one more sitting, a couple of hours detailing, tidying up where I've put stuff that shouldn't be there. And highlights, and I'm going to call them done, and then Scott Basin, which is just is it a Grelin Earth? Is that what it's called? That cackle stuff, that gear. I can't remember if I give that guy. This is actually a contrast Space Wolf. He's done in contrasting. With some bits on from the old Space Wolf kit. So I painted him slightly different. That was my speed painting. I think I did a video on it. Carl, evening. Only just tuned in. I had a sudden pizza party after work tonight that took precedence over hobby. About to sit and get through some Uruks. You've just joined as I'm about just to shut up shop because I'm getting pretty tired. Best way to release models through a pun. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call out them there. I might do. I'll do a stream in the week. I think where I'll finish them off. So I'll get through some more bits and bobs on them off camera probably tomorrow afternoon. I think I've got an hour tomorrow. Excuse me, just yawning. I've not even touched that. I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. I opened it at the beginning and not touched it. So I'll get some more done tomorrow, and then I think I'll do another stream one evening next week. I'll check what other streams are about, because there's a lot of streams now in the week, and I don't want to clash with someone that is doing a similar thing or in similar circles. It seems kind of pointless. But I'll have a check. I'm maybe thinking Tuesday could work. And finish them off and just hang out. Yeah, so I'll get some done tomorrow and then I'll finish them off next week and we'll stream. But yes, thank you very much for joining, guys. It was a quiet one tonight, but you know what? I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I got some painting done. We hung out. We met some new guys, which was a ton of fun. So you lot take care. I will see you in the week. Keep an eye out. I think tomorrow the video is coming out with the other terrain from Zeturdis, which I've done a quick review on. That's going to be out tomorrow. Please do check that out. Give it a share. Get it out there. The community is growing quite steadily. The more it grows, the more time I can commit to the channel. Fingers crossed. I really would like to at the end of this year get to the point where I can commit a day a week to making content. That's the dream. Fingers crossed. If I could do that, that would be amazing. Just make the quality a bit better, make the substance a bit better. Once I get in the studio, I can make a lot of stuff happen. But we'll try and get there. Let's just keep pushing and keep growing. You guys are freaking amazing, and I really appreciate your support. And sleep tight, stay safe, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, people.